Hello everyone, this is our third Python tutorial, and today we're going to be discussing all about operators. So it's going to be a fairly quick tutorial because I'm just going to be discussing the different types of operators that we will see generally in our Python learning. So let's go ahead and begin with our discussion. So operators are simply constructs which manipulate the value of operands, and you can see in this quick little diagram that operators are this plus sign and this equal sign, and the operands are what this operator is acting upon, this x and the y, and z is obviously the result. So there are multiple types of operators, right? You have arithmetic, comparison, assignment, logical, bitwise, membership, and identity operators. And we will go quickly into each kind of operator to just see what exactly they will look like in Python. So let's quickly begin with arithmetic operators. Right. So these are all arithmetic operators, and arithmetic operators, they simply perform mathematical operations such as addition and subtraction, etc. And you can see exactly what they're doing. So the only two that might be a little new to you guys are these last two, and this first one represents floor division, and the next one represents powering, basically exponents. So you'll see right here what each of these values do. And we have our two integer variables x and y, which are equal to 12 and 4 respectively. So you can see what exactly this program is doing. Right. So you see x plus y is 16. So you can see what each of these values are doing. And floor division simply, when two numbers that don't divide perfectly divide and you get a decimal, it will simply go to the lower half of it. So if I were to have 13 divided by 4, which is 3.25, it's going to ultimately, due to floor division, become 3. Yep. So the actual value right here, 3.25, and it will become 3. So there you can see the different powers that arithmetic operators have. And now let's go on to comparison operators. And I will just simply, similarly to what I did before, I'm just going to go and list through the main comparison operators that we will see in Python. Okay, so now we're going to be discussing comparison operators, and comparison operators are pretty much do exactly what they sound like. They're performing a comparison between two values and returning true or false. So we have right here, we have our two integer variables x and y, and we're going to be performing a comparison between each of these. And the one that might confuse you a little bit is this exclamation mark equals, and that simply means not equals. So it's checking if x does not equal y. And in this case, it will return true. So let's go ahead and run this program and see what each of the different operators, comparison operators, are doing. Right. So here you can see it's true, and the rest, they're pretty straightforward to understand. Equals equals just checks if these two values represent the same value. So if it's 12 is equal to 12, then we would have gotten true in that scenario. So now that we've completed comparison and arithmetic operators, let's move on to logical operators. And they're a little bit like comparison operators, but you'll see the subtle differences. So I'll go ahead and work through that. Right, so I've completed each of the main logical operators. So we have AND, OR, and NOT. So AND is simply checking if both of these values are true. And if they are, then the total thing will evaluate to true. Or we'll check if it's one or the other. So if one is true or the other is true, then it will only evaluate to true. And otherwise, it will only evaluate to false. And what NOT does, NOT's a little unique. It's simply going to be printing out the alternative. So if it's true, it will print false, and if it is false, it will return true. So that's the logical operators. And lastly, let's begin learning about the identity operators. So I'll go through and write a small program for that as well. So Okay, so now these are the two identity and membership operators. So here we have our four variables, two of them integers and two of them being strings. And simply what identity operators do is that they check if these two values represent the same storage in our computer's knowledge. So what they're doing right here is we have num1 and num2, and we're simply checking if 5 and 5 represent, if these two variables are pointing to the same exact location in our computer. And it's doing that as well with the string variables. And right here in the membership, it's simply going to be checking if a certain character or string belongs to our overall variables. So let's go ahead and see what each of these variables do. Right. So you can see num1 and num2 are pointing to the same value, and so are string1 and string2. But in our membership case, we have hello h is in string1, right? But we have hello lowercase not being in string2, which shows us that this value, this membership operators are case sensitive, and that will be important going forward. So now you guys have gotten a quick overview over the main important arithmetic operators. So now I'm going to issue a little challenge, and simply what it's going to do is it's going to test your understanding of operator order, and as well as how the compiler will view operators. So it might be a little bit of a math review, so let me just give you guys the challenge. Okay, so this tiny challenge is simply going to test your understanding once again of operator order. So let's go ahead and try to evaluate what each of these different operators are doing in each line. So you have this first statement, and PEMDAS is going to take a huge role in each of these. So first we look at our division and multiplication, since we don't have any exponents or parentheses. So let's go ahead and look at 5 divided by 3 right here. So we have a 4, and right here 3 into 2 we're going to have 6. So it becomes 9 minus 4 plus 6 minus 1. So 9 minus 4 is 5, plus 6 minus 1 is going to be 10. So that's what that value should be. This next one, using our parentheses, you can say 3 plus c, that's going to be 6. So it becomes 12 divided by 6, which is 2, times 3 into, 2 minus 1, so that's 1. So it's going to be 12 divided by 6, 2 times 1, which will give us 2. So you have a minus 2, which is going to be 9 minus 2, and that should give us 7. And for this last statement, you have 3 plus c first in our parentheses, so that's going to be 6. And you have b divided by 6, that's going to be 2. 2 times 2, that's going to be 4. So you have 9 minus 4, which is 5, minus 1, which should give us 4. So let me go ahead and test out these values. And yep, we're getting 10, 7, and 4. So hopefully that gave you a quick overview of what operators will mean in Python. And operators are going to be super important going forward, especially when we're doing a lot of maths related stuff and data science far ahead in the future. So it's important to get a good grasp of what each of these operators mean, so you don't get caught off guard when reading programs that have different looking operators. So hopefully this gave you a good understanding, and I will see you in the next tutorial. And I'm going to go turn off that alarm, which has been driving me crazy. So thank you guys, and bye. I will see you in the next tutorial.